What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Word on Woodward presented by Rehmann. Empower your purpose with Rehmann. You can catch us right here every Tuesday and Thursday starting at noon. But if you're anything like me and need a little reminder, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your live notifications so you don't miss a single second of any of our shows. Before we get into it, I want to let you guys know that the Tigers are having a virtual happy hour tonight starting at 6 p.m. You're going to see some of the biggest Tigers prospects joining Matt Shepard. So go to the Tigers social media channels to find out some more information about that virtual happy hour. Again, that is tonight at 6 p.m. We've got some great guests for you guys. As always, Dan Dickerson is going to join us. We've got interviews with Hockey Hall of Famer Mark Howe, former Tiger Brandon Inge, and much more. Now, guys, we're going to get into the show and bring in Art Regner, my co-host. Art, it's always a pleasure to see you. I look forward to noon every Tuesday and Thursday, I got to tell you.
Well, so do I, Danielle. I'm really excited, and I can't wait for today's show. We've got a lot of great guests, good topics, good conversations. So let's get it going.
Yeah, we do have some other great guests on today, too. We're going to talk Learn, Play, Score, which is a Red Wings initiative that started. They've got some great programs going on. And Kim Davis, NHL executive, is going to join us to talk about some of the things that have been going on in the world. So it is going to be a great show, you guys. Let's get into our Big Three to kick it off. As always, the Big Three is presented by Chevrolet. And our first topic today is the release of the Red Wings documentary series, The Winged Wheel. It is now available on Red Wings YouTube. You can watch all of the episodes. And Art, I'm still watching. I've watched all the way through episode 5, but I've got to watch a few more. So I got to tell you, so far, it's been really great. You get the best behind the scenes look at what goes on with the Red Wings and how that season really unfolded and what it was like to go through the rebuild, how the players felt, starting from when Steve Yzerman was named general manager. Really cool story.
Well, without question, yeah. I mean, Dan Manis, Pete Scorch, the whole crew that's responsible. Probably people that are on our crew. Yeah, it's a great series. You know, you always see Dan, who put it together, always there, always behind the scenes, follows the guys at the draft. I think it was a good job. I have to say something too. I had a very small part in this. There were a few scripted things that I actually wrote for this. And, Danielle, I want you to try to figure out which players I specifically wrote about when you watch it.
That's
say,
a challenge.
Oh, wow,
when I finish the series, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna have it. I have a feeling I'll be able to figure it out.
Right, and let's say that one of them that I wrote about, his initials are BT. Sort of. Not really, but they are. Oh yeah,
big tone.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good one. It's really a great job. And I really think it gives you kind of an insight. And what I really like about it is it does show you the human factor. I mean, these guys, a lot of times these Red Wings aren't happy, and they pretty much tell you that. So it's a great job.
Yeah, well, Art, and the coolest thing is me and you, especially you, when you travel with the team and you get to be behind the scenes all the time. Fans don't get to see that kind of stuff. So I think it is really cool that they're getting a chance to get a deeper look at what goes on behind the scenes.
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, there's a lot more. There's a lot of support staff. There's a lot of bus travel when you're on the road, checking in and checking out of hotels, but they're used to it. They're all used to it. I mean, after a while, when you've been in the league for so long, there's certain spots, like when I'm on the road, there's a certain place that I'll go all the time with boss man Andrew Kristoff and Dan Manis, a little burger bar in Montreal that we have to hit, a couple of really nice restaurants in Boston. So, I mean, it really gives you a flavor of not only hockey, but, what life on the road, but also just the different cities and what these guys go through and how it's, they're all focused on winning hockey games, trust me. But Winged Wheel, it's just the insight too. Steve's in it a lot, Steve Yzerman, and telling you what, his thought process. So I think you get a better understanding of where the Red Wings are and where they're going to go. And I think it lays it out very, very nicely for you.
I agree with you, Art. Again, everybody, you can check that out on the Red Wings YouTube channel. All the episodes are there on demand, so make sure you check that out. You will not regret it. I can promise you that. And with that, we'll move on to our second topic of the Big Three for today. USA Hockey announced their summer showcase, Art. And This is interesting because we didn't really know what this was going to be this year. It's a tournament where they bring in the athletes from all over the world, and it's really a showcase for them to make the World Juniors team, which plays at the end of December, beginning of January each year. So there were a lot of prospects on that list, and one of the Red Wings prospects was on the list, and Robert Mastrosimone. So very interesting to see, and I'm glad that they're still able to put this tournament on with everything that's going on. I should say showcase, not tournament.
Right. The summer showcase, really, it's usually 4 teams. Finland, Sweden, the United States, and Canada. This year, it's only going to be Team USA. Canada pulled out of this, and just because of COVID-19, but they're still having it. It's going to be Team USA announced 43 players. It's July 24th through August 1st. This was always a who's who of hockey. I've been to this several times. Guys like Gus Lindstrom, Keith Petruzzelli, Jonathan Berggren. I mean, there was a number of Red Wing prospects that have played in it. One year, I think there were actually 7 guys on the respective 4 teams. This is kind of what this is going to be, and I don't know if the public will be invited. Usually they are. Virtually every general manager in the league is always there because these are very high-end guys. Some of them have been drafted. Some of the names that you'll hear, you said Robert Mastrosimone, drafted last year in the 2nd round, 54th overall. He played for Boston University this year. He had 7 goals, 10 assists in 34 games. He's a great player. Johnny Beecher and Cam York, who play for Michigan. Josh Nodler, who plays for Michigan State. There's a lot of great guys. And then I'm reading them off. Jake Sanderson, high-end draft pick this year. He's going to be on this team. But essentially, what this tournament is going to be is it's kind of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. They're looking for the golden ticket to be on the U.S. national team, junior national team, that's going to play in, hopefully, we got to keep our fingers crossed. Everything is tentative, as we very well know today. December 26th through January 5th, the World Juniors tournament, which Joe Valeno, we've had him on, won a gold. Mo Sider was the captain of Team Germany last year, which is going to be in Edmonton and Red Deer, Alberta. Hopefully, December 26th, it starts. It runs through June 5th, or June. That'd be a long tournament. January 5th. But I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I think what's good is that Team USA Hockey is trying to have business as usual, normal as usual. Usually the summer showcase will go between the U.S. and usually at the USA Hockey Arena in Plymouth, and then it'll go over to Sweden maybe for a year, or Finland. Then it usually comes back to the United States. I've been there 3 or 4 years now when it has been in Plymouth. It's really a great thing, and I'm looking forward. Mastrosimone was one of the last cuts last year on the World Junior team, so he has something to prove. I hope they let us in. I hope they let some media people in so we can see it, but it'll be interesting how this plays out. But another interesting thing about this Team USA, 38 of the 43 players on this invitee roster are playing college hockey, which is exactly the opposite of Team Canada. Team Canada takes their team from the Canadian Hockey League, which is the Ontario League, the Quebec League, and the Western League, is the combination called the CHL, the combination of 3 leagues. Most of their team are from that that realm of the hockey, junior hockey world, whereas the Americans are more college oriented. So that's why this rivalry is pretty big, because there's a little bit of a rivalry obviously going between junior hockey and college hockey too. So I hope the tournament comes off, but there's going to be a lot of high-end hockey talent. And let's be honest, most of the high-end hockey talent that wears an American jersey that you see all have gone through the development program. Jack Eichel, Dylan Larkin, they've all gone through the development program. Most of them have graduated high school from a Michigan high school, whether it's Plymouth-Salem, Canton, or, they have a huge campus out there in Plymouth. I think they have like 35 high schools all condensed in one area. I know I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's great. It's great. I'm glad to see them at least trying to maintain some normalcy, depending on what the next step is COVID-19 takes. Hopefully this will go off and there will be a World Junior tournament and we will get hockey again.
Definitely. It's a good step in the right direction that they are still putting it on. So we're looking forward to that showcase later this summer. Let's move on to our third topic of the big three. And this one are the Tigers in these dreams come true videos. They're incredible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this video speak for itself. You guys check it out.
Hey Tigers fans, Carly Johnston here, joined by a big Tigers fan himself, Connor Yamarino. How's it going, Connor?
Good.
The Tigers are your favorite baseball team. Why is that?
I just always watch them before like anything else.
If you were at a baseball game right now at Comerica Park, what would you buy at the concession stand? Would it be a hot dog, popcorn, pretzel?
Pretzel.
Well, Connor, actually, I don't have a question for you. Next, I have a surprise for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring in Tigers pitchers Matt Boyd and Spencer Turnbull.
What's up, Connor?
Connor, we're going to be playing a game of Pictionary.
Okay.
Okay, so Spencer and Matt will be going head to head trying to guess what you're trying to draw.
Okay.
Let's get to drawing. All right.
Baseball diamond, fielder, catcher. Is that home plate?
It's a good drawing, so I'm blaming you guys.
Running home, scoring a run.
That's close enough. It's home run.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Baseball, pitch, pop up. Oh, it looks like a pitcher catching.
Curveball.
Spencer got it. All right, it's 1-1.
I'm so embarrassed right now. I don't know what this is. Connor, this is not you. This is me. Comerica Park.
Yeah.
This is Triple Crown.
Yes, Spencer got it. It's Miguel Cabrera. All right, so number 5. First person to get it wins.
Pause.
Yes.
Yeah.
Matt got it! Matt is the Pictionary winner today! Matt isn't the only winner here today. Spencer, can you tell Connor what he's getting?
Connor, I believe there's a swag bag already at your house from us.
Tell us what you got there, Connor.
A Tigers hat and a stuffed animal, a pencil case, earbuds, and a piggy bank. Miguel Cabrera piggy bank.
A Miggy Bank.
Signed pictures of you guys.
That's
But Connor, I gotta tell you, the fun doesn't stop there. Matt, what else is he getting?
Yeah, well, Connor, I know it's kind of hard right now to see it, but we would love to have you out to the park.
Cool. Thank you.
Well, hopefully we'll get a chance to, shake hands. If not this year, but maybe in the future.
Okay.
All right, Connor. I'll
Nice to
see you
meet you,
there.
Connor.
Go Tigers, dude.
Go Tigers.
Such a great job by Carly, Spencer, and Matt. And hey, Connor was pretty good at Pictionary there. His pictures were great.
Yeah, he has a future as an artist. It looks like. Certainly they were easy. I think that Matt Boyd. I mean, that guy is man on the spot, so to speak. I mean, he was pretty engaged. Spencer, I think had trouble keeping up with Boyd right now. Now, hopefully that'll translate on the mound. Maybe they'll have a little competition. It's like Spencer says to Matt, "Hey, okay, yeah, you were good in Pictionary, but." All right, let's see who's going to get the better record this year, But what can we say? I mean, this is one of the best things that of our show is to show these. There's no question. Tigers' dreams come true. We say it all the time, but I tip my cap to the Tigers. I mean, they do it great. Their players are very engaged. You can tell how appreciative. We have anything from adult men or women who are really just beside themselves, or you have somebody like Connor who's kind of, oh wow, I mean, he doesn't know what to say. He's a little bit tongue-tied because these are 2 Detroit Tigers. I mean, it takes me back when I used to see athletes like at dating myself at Wonderland Shopping Center or something. I remember one time I saw Mickey Stanley and Danny McClain going up an escalator as I was going down, and I kind of freaked out, because when you see somebody not in their uniform, an athlete, and you see them like in like civilian clothes, you get the idea. My God, they're like real people. They're not these. And you can't say anything to them. It's just kind of weird. And I always love to watch the reaction, the way they interact with them. The Tigers do such a great job, the players and the organization, of bringing people together. And you can see, making those dreams come true is one of the best feelings in the world.
The Tigers do a really great job, Art, and it's the best way to wrap up our Big Three. A big thank you to Chevy for presenting the Big Three every week here on the Word on Woodward. Chevy cares. That is why Chevy Clean dealers are committed to using enhanced vehicle cleaning measures with CDC-approved cleansers before delivering your vehicle after purchase or service. So when you're ready, you can find new roads with confidence. And you guys, we've actually got a little bit of breaking news for you today. The Tigers announced that they have agreed to terms with second-round pick Dylan Dingler, the catcher out of Ohio State. And we're going to bring in Dan Dickerson to talk about this too, our mailbag guest for today, delivered by Little Caesars. Dan, Dylan Dingler, we talked about him a lot, especially with you. You actually told us to look out for Dylan Dingler in the second round there, and that is who the Tigers ended up taking. And today they agreed to terms. So what do you think about this move here by the Tigers? I know you like the pick, but they got him agreed to a deal right away.
Yeah, they've already signed, I think that's 3 or 4 now, and it's just great. I mean, Torkelson will be the next one, but to get Dingler in the system, I mean, this kid's going to be a fast track. I mean, catchers, it's going to, take a little bit longer, but the skills are really inverted outfield. We talked about this the other day, the value of having guys who can play different positions. But that, again, speaks to his athleticism. And you're going to be catcher, but the thought that he might be able to come out from behind home plate, let's say if Jake Rogers continues to develop and they can share that position, or he can offer position flexibility, that's huge. It's a big, big deal to sign this guy this quickly.
Double D, I mean, obviously this is I'm sorry, yeah, I mean, this is Dan's guy. I mean, were you part of this negotiation? I mean, you're part of the Dingler team, as we all know. I mean, you so. I mean,
yeah, it sounds like so I've got those kind of Columbus area roots.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I mean, you've also kind of had some mini breaking news. You said Torkelson's going to be next. I mean, you're just not a fine radio play-by-play announcer. It sounds like you're in there. You're hammering out deals for the Tigers. So when can we expect the Torque Man to be signed, sealed, and delivered?
Oh yeah, they're keeping me in the loop, Art. They call me all the time just to update me, make sure I'm really on top of exactly when this is going to happen. So.
All right, you heard it here first. Really, Torkelson's going to be signed soon, according to Dan Dickerson. All right, breaking news. All right, I can't wait.
Let's get to our first mailbag question, you guys. This is a great first question now that we just talked about Dylan Dingler. But Megan from Bay City asked, the College World Series would have started this week. How does college baseball prepare players for the MLB compared to the minor leagues? And Dan, that one is for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you're drafting college players, you're just drafting guys who are closer to the major leagues. I think Alavila's made it very clear, as we've talked about, I've talked about, others have talked about, maybe you have Spencer Torkelson make his debut this year. Alavila's made the point. There's a reason there are so many levels of the minor leagues. It really, while it prepares you for life in the minor leagues, all it does really when you talk about the major leagues is get you a little bit closer to where you might start at a higher level than a high school kid. Usually you do. And it means that you're going to get to the major leagues almost always quicker than a high school kid. But it's still a process. I was looking back over the last several drafts just to get a feel for what I would say to fans is those college hitters. There have been several in recent years who have made the jump to the major leagues quite quickly, whether it's a Chris Bryant from the 2013 draft. You look at the 2014 draft, you've got Aaron Nola, Michael Conforto, Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, all made their debuts the year after they were drafted. They were all first-round picks. There's no comparable second-round pick really in the last 6 years outside of maybe Michael Conforto and Brian Reynolds in terms of being an impact player really quickly at the major league level. So that's what I would say. It absolutely prepares you, but it prepares you to be closer to the major leagues more so than it prepares you to be in the major leagues versus the minor leagues.
Art, question 2 is for you, and this one is Pete from Plymouth, and he asked, I know you've got a great answer to this question. Any more unique good luck charms we can do for the draft lottery last week? And that's the NHL draft lottery. The Red Wings are very much in it, and that's next Friday, June 26th.
Well, there's several that I have. Obviously, I still have my lucky red underwear. Which people want to know why that was developed in Spain. It goes back to the Middle Ages where red was outlawed. People in Spain in medieval times could not wear red because it was the color of the devil. So they all wore red underwear. So I'm wearing red underwear every single day. I have a lot of red underwear. Red's my favorite color. So that's certainly one of them. I know I keep bringing it up, but it's underwear and it's red. It's very, very cool. You have horseshoes, 4-leaf clovers, fuzzy dice. You can go on, dream catchers, rabbit's foot. You've got all that stuff. I also play lucky music, and I have 2 favorite songs of mine. One is High Hopes by Frank Sinatra, which I play on a continuous loop. And the other one is, believe it or not, by Michigan's Own or Detroit's Own. And I think she likes us again. I think she actually admits that she is from the state of Michigan now. Madonna. My all-time favorite Madonna song is Lucky Star. And I play that or I play Frank. I either play High Hopes, Lucky Star, but I'm going to develop a new charm tradition. And I think it's going to catch on. And when people see it, they're going to say, oh, that's so 2020. They're going to know. Like people in Spain that wear red underwear know it comes back from the Middle Ages or from I am going to do this, and I'm putting this on. And it's my lucky mask. Yes, it's my good luck mask. Not only I think that wearing a good luck mask, and this is my summer one. My winter one has, goes all the way up to my ears. I think wearing a lucky mask is something that, not only are you being a good citizen and protecting not only yourself but your fellow man, but this is something that I think will bring luck. I think this is it. I probably want to wear this every single day. It's very comfortable, by the way. It's the Aurora Borealis. I know I'm butchering it, but there you go. So everybody, get your lucky mask, put it on, and before you know it, not only is the Torque Man a tiger, Alex Lafreniere, Red Wing very, very soon.
I love it, Art. I got to get a good luck mask too, though. Is any mask good luck, or are you going to make me one?
Masks are a very personal thing, and I think that whatever appeals to you. I have a couple that are coming from the Detroit Institute of Arts, the DIA, and so I'm going to rotate them. I also have a couple of other masks here. One is kind of a tie-dye kind of job that I wear, but it's kind of a winter mask. So you know what? I find the more you talk in the mask, the more it slips down off your face. But yeah, I think I think 2020, the new lucky charm is a mask. Wear a mask.
All right, you got it, Art. Dan, do you
That's
have
the best
any
public service announcement I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, that was really good. That was really good. Dan, do you have any lucky, what would you even call, like traditions, or maybe something that you do before a game that's supposed to be lucky that we can try to do before this draft lottery?
No, I've never really have. I've never, I think it's a fun tradition. I mean, my goodness, every sport has it, right? I always think, whenever I think of that, literally like not changing your socks for a few days or something along those lines, if the Tigers have a win streak going, or if they need a win. I always think of the Joe Madden quote. He's like, if it was as easy as changing or not changing my socks or underwear, believe me, I do it all the time. I mean, that always stuck in my brain. So I don't have any problem with anybody doing it. I love it. I love the mask, but I just don't have any.
Well, we'll have to get you. Well, I'm sure you actually have a mask, so you can start that one apart.
Dan, I'm telling you right now, a pair of red underwear is coming to your house very, very soon, my friend.
I'll wait by the mailbox.
I wash a couple of them first, and then they're coming right your way.
Oh man, they're used. That's concerning.
Hey, that's a little side business I have that we can't get into, but.
Oh, okay. With that said, we're going to move on to the next question, you guys, and this one is for Dan. John from Pontiac. Oh, I'm sorry that I skipped a question there. Lou from Clawson asked, "Who do you think will lead the team in home runs this year?" Spencer Torkelson, right?
There you go. I love it, Daniela. You're on board with our whole "let's get toward to the major leagues" plan. Once we sign him soon.
Yeah, very soon.
So I would go with one of the two new guys. I mean, I'll pick one, but I mean, it's going to be Crone, Scope, Cabrera, you would think. Always remember, a shortened season, you're going to have some really strange occurrences, right? Nelson Cruz had 9 home runs through the first 50 games last year, and he ended up hitting 41. So I would go with, first, believe it or not, Miguel Cabrera, because I really thought he showed in spring training that he had his legs underneath him. His legs were healthier. He had committed to building strength in his legs and a whole new fitness regime. He hit 2 bombs off Garrett Cole, who was throwing his usual 95 to 97 on a day in Lakeland. Yes, the wind was blowing out, but he crushed him. And then I would go with CJ Crone next, and then Scope third. Again, shortened season, you never know. But I would say either Crone or Miguel Cabrera.
Dan, I know we've talked about this before, but Miguel Cabrera is a huge part of the he can even get back to part of his old Miggy ways. The Tigers are going to be in good shape with him.
Call me crazy, but I mean, because I was, as skeptical as anybody whenever you hear the "in the best shape of his life" stories in spring training, because we've heard it before, but it really was a considered effort to change everything, from diet to nutrition to the workouts that he was doing. So it was different for Miguel Cabrera. I do think he can get back to maybe not, a 1,000 OPS, but a 900 OPS. Would you take that? Absolutely. Great hitters tend to age better. The Hall of Fame guys tend to age better than the mere mortals. And given good health, I really believe he's got some big years left in him. I really believe that.
Hey, that's right, Dan. That's why they're
Dan?
Hall of Famers, right?
Dan,
That's right.
do you have an outdoor sprinkler system, or is your neighbor watering your lawn behind you, or is
I did just turn it
somebody
on.
drinking? Oh, yeah, right. It works. Let me tell you that. It's really nice. Very nice fall.
Just a very pleasant atmosphere here.
Yeah. Really, I mean, you're just relaxing on the outdoor porch there, and watching the the grass be watered. I mean, and you're on the phone negotiating deals with Tiger prospects. I mean, this is what a life you lead there, Double D.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we're jealous of Dan Dickerson right now.
Hold on, Scott Boros is calling. Let me take this real quick.
You're excused.
I can hear you now. Damn it, Scott! It's $3 million. It's free. And then hanging up the phone.
All right, Art. Let's answer the final question of the mailbag. You're going to start for this one. This is John from Pontiac. He mustache you a question. If you were offered $300 to grow a mustache like the 70s A's, would you grow one?
Well, first of all, I think we'd have to make, in the 70s, $300 was a lot. So today, let's say like in 2020 terms, that's probably about $75,000. So yes, I would definitely do it. Even for
Hey, I
300
would
bucks,
have 300.
even for 300 bucks, but you got to really look at it. In 1970, $300. I mean, you could live, half a year on that practically. I would assume. But yeah, I would do it. I mean, I've been, in the 70s, believe it or not, I tried in my senior picture in high school to grow a mustache, and like everybody, I kind of had like little hairs or something, like kind of. I could never grow a mustache in the 70s, but today I actually think I could. I would definitely do it without question.
Art, I would like to see what you look like with a mustache, like a nice full one with the handlebars, maybe curl them in a little bit. I think you could rock it.
I'll tell you right now, when I did grow a mustache,
Oh,
there you go. I mean, wow. Oh my gosh. Double D looks like Douglas Fairbanks Jr. or something. Oh my God, what a dashing young man.
oh, geez.
There we go.
Look, I can even rock the mustache, guys. Where's my 300 bucks?
That's good.
Daniela, that looks like you're. Oh, look at Carly.
Carly got the handlebars. Yes.
Wow. Some of those were kind of frightening.
Carly looks like good in a mustache. How did she honestly make a mustache look good? I don't understand.
It was unlike yours, which was big and bushy. Hers was very, very streamlined. Very streamlined.
Yeah.
It looks like you have a. I know you're trying to be Hulk Hogan there, Daniela, but it kind of looked like you had a bunch of nair or something on your upper lip. Isn't that what hair remover is called? I mean, look at that thing.
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of glue to put that thing on?
No, it was really itchy though. Like I had it on and I kept having to take it off and then put back on. So I don't know how guys deal with the mustache all the time.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, out of the four of us, I have to vote for super agent Dan Dickerson as having the best look. Look at that. I mean, that is just a classic look. It's pretty amazing that the mustache does not match your hair color. Mine is. I look like I look like a reject from the old Miami Vice TV show. Yeah, that guy's not going to get it. But he's not getting the part. But Double D, man, that's a really good distinguished look. You should do that. You should actually consider growing one.
I tried early on during this pandemic and stay at home, no haircuts. Yeah, let's go over here. 4 days, I was done. I hated it. Didn't like it. Like Danielle said, hated it. And plus, I just don't think I can grow much up there. It wouldn't look that good, and I didn't think that looked very good actually.
The question is though, Dan,
can probably
try to grow one for $300.
I'm with Art. You add a couple zeros to that, and I might be tempted.
Yeah, right. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I might not get very far. I would try.
Hey, I love making money as much as the next person. $300 in 1970 when Charlie Finley offered the A's to do it. I'm sure that they were like, yeah, okay, cool. You go to a baseball player today for $300 and say, yeah, will you grow a mustache? They'll pull out $500 cash and say, here's $500 cash. Let me alone. Don't come near me anymore. So boom, that I think that, $300 in 70s was cool. Right now, I'm really serious. $1,500. $1,500. I'll grow hair all year. I won't get a haircut for a year.
I want him to do it, Daniela. I want him to do it. I want to see it next week, Art.
$1,500 with me, Dan? You want to split it? We'll put it in a pile and we'll see if Art can grow his hair out for a year.
Let's issue the challenge. Go fund Art. 100.
Well, this is about 4 months right now, and so well, yeah. It would get pretty long. I mean, my hair is definitely wild at this point. I've given up on it, and so whatever it looks like, this is it. If I have to go 12 months for $1,500, I guess that's what $100 a month, a little over. So yeah, man, yeah, I'll consider it. I'll consider it. What a negotiator you are, Dan. Now I know why you're on the Tigers legal team to negotiate deals.
Well, you guys got to see us all with mustaches in today's mailbag, so I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. Thanks, Dan Dickerson, for joining us as always, and a big thank you to
Thanks,
our
guys.
friends at Little Caesars. Little
Thank you, Double
Caesars
D.
proudly introduces their hot and ready pepperoni cheeser. You get a large pizza topped with classic pepperoni, fresh mozzarella, and a toasted Parmesan and Asiago cheese crust for just $7. Try our no-contact pizza portal or delivery from Little Caesars. You guys, we've still got a very exciting show for you. We're going to hear more from Jason McCrimmon and Kevin Brown, the Red Wings Director of Communications, to talk about the Red Wings Learn, Play, Score initiative. We're going to hear from former Tiger Brandon Inge and Kim Davis, NHL executive. She's going to talk to us about some of the social issues that have been going on in the world, and it's going to be a really great interview, so you guys won't want to miss that. But in honor of Father's Day this weekend, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, Carly has a very special edition of Catching Up with Carly.
That's right. It's time for Catching Up with Carly, presented by Meyer. Today, I am joined by Red Wings alum Mark Howe. How's it going, Mark?
Well, kind of like everybody else, it's a strange time, but you try to make the best of it. And as you can see, I think the last game I scouted was March 11th, and I haven't shaved since March 11th. So I'm growing a playoff beard. Hopefully next year we'll be able to use that beard.
All right, let's dive right into things. Your family was pretty much the first family of Hockey Town, if you will. What was it like growing up in Detroit with Gordie Howe as your dad?
I don't know. I mean, like when I talk about growing up, I always talk about both my parents. So, I mean, Dad was a famous hockey player. My mother basically, she raised us, ran the family, made sure we did well at school, and Dad led by example. But being the son of Gordie Howe, the way we were raised was the way I always looked at it was I was raised by two great parents. I was very fortunate. All four of us children were extremely fortunate that they were mom and dad, just like you have a mom and dad. Other people have mom and dad, and I had two great parents.
At 16, you earned a silver medal at the 1972 Olympics in Japan. You were the youngest hockey player to win an Olympic medal. What was it like to achieve something of that caliber at such a young age?
Well, I got like 2 months out of school. It was great. So no, it was. I think when you're 16, you don't really realize maybe the opportunities that are presented to you. I think you appreciate it more as life goes on. And the only reason I was supposed to go to Toronto that year and play with the Marlboros, and I wouldn't have been eligible to play in the Olympics. But I had knee surgery and I hadn't recovered yet. So but I got the opportunity. I went to Minnesota. I made the team. Next thing you know, I'm on a plane and I fly. We land in, I think it was Alaska, then in Seattle, then we landed in Chicago. My dad was at the airport in Chicago. I came back here. Next day I was back in school. So that's how quick, that's how quick it went. That's how fast it went. And like I said, at 16, I don't think you don't come close to appreciating the experience that you went through. And I took the time, and when I was in Olympic Village, and I think I was getting paid like $100 or $50 a day expense money, whatever it was. And I collected all my money and I bought a big suitcase, and then I filled it with everything I could to bring back for everybody here back in Detroit.
I mean, not many 16-year-olds can say they experienced that. And another thing a lot of people cannot say that they have experienced is that before you played in the NHL, you played in the World Hockey League with your brother Marty and your dad. I mean, how incredible was that?
Almost every year that I played minor hockey, I played on the same team with Marty. So we used to beat each other up in practice. He used to get the best of me most of the time, but we played on the same teams every year till till 1973, every year but two. And so it was, so for us to play together was no big deal. The incredible thing about it is if anybody was able to watch watch Gordy play, when he came out of retirement, he was 45 years of age. And to watch how good he was at 45, I mean, he was better at 45 than I ever was at any year of my career. That's how good he was. And the next year, and I benefited. I didn't, Artie was ready to go. I didn't quite feel emotionally ready yet. I didn't feel I was set to do it. And so Dad helped convince me to get in there and play. And it took me about 3 months to feel comfortable. And the biggest part of that was Dad was a right winger on the line. Our center was a young guy named Jimmy Sherritt, and I was a left winger. But like I said, the incredible thing about it was watching Dad at 45 and 46. And then even his last year, the Birds were playing up in Hartford. Dad was 52, still had about 40 points, was barely playing, and they wanted him to retire. He retired, but he still wanted to play. He just loved playing so much. And but yeah, I always really cherished the opportunity to play with any great athlete. I know when I came to Detroit and got to watch play with Steve Yzerman, and I had the opportunity to play with Nick Litzman, Vladimir Konstantinov, Sergei Fedorov. You go to All-Star games. Yeah, I played a little bit with Larry Robinson, Lemieux. Played on in a 3-game series on a line with my dad on right wing, Wayne Gretzky at center, and there was some little kid on left wing named Mark Howe. So, but I always cherish those moments just to be around great athletes that excel in their sport. And being around Dad for those 6-7 years was, especially the first 2 years, was just a sight to behold. And like fans in Detroit, they watched Chris Chelios play for years. I know like Mark Messier, Jaromir Jagr. I mean, these guys were great players and well into their 40s. Dad was still a great player, and he's 50. And that's, I mean, it's just, and anybody that thinks about it, you're 50 years old. I retired when I made it to 40, and I have no idea how my dad played 12 more years after that. I mean, I was in so much pain every day. But that's he was something really special.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but you've won 4 Stanley Cups with the team while in the hockey operations department. Unfortunately, not as a player. But do you think it feels just as sweet winning it in the front office as it does winning it as a player?
No way. Not a chance. So like I said, I won at every other level. I won a couple in the WHA, and then I went to the finals there 3 more times. I went to the finals 3 times in the NHL as a player, and so I'm lucky. I out of 22 years, I spent I think it was 7 or 8 years. I made it to the finals. It's all about. And nobody cares about being runner-up. Like I said, even with a silver medal in the Olympics, I mean, it's a great accomplishment, but you're still second. What matters is winning. And actually, when we won our first cup, the 2 guys I was most happy for was Vladdy and Nick. They were partners of mine. We roomed together a little bit. And the team was. It was a learning experience for a lot of players. 95, 96 was really tough. 97, I knew our guys were ready, and they came, they battled, they won, and I was so happy for them. And you see the emotions, then you win again, but I also know what it was like to be there, sweating, bleeding, being there for your teammates, hurting, taking needles, doing whatever it takes to win. That's what it's all about. I think on the other side, I know as a scout, if I can find one thing, I know the one year when we beat the Caps in the finals, there was one thing that Danny Belial and I found that Barry Smith, Dave Lewis had not seen on the videos. We brought it in, and it made a huge difference. It provided the goal that tied the game. We won in overtime. That's where your enjoyment comes, because like I said, when I played on the Olympic team, I helped a little tiny bit. And I think as a scout, you can come in and you help a little tiny bit. It's the coaches, it's the players, it's being there. Like I said, bleeding and sweating and putting everything on the line for your teammates. That is the most rewarding thing by far.
It's definitely a team effort, but you've had some incredible, incredible accomplishments in your life. In 2011, you were inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Can you even explain what that meant to you?
Yeah, and I really say this honestly. I never ever thought I was going to get in. I know I had my 22 years. I think I had 1,400 points or whatever in both leagues, and but a lot of the people they didn't like because of the WHA because I went there and played, and I did not win a Stanley Cup as a player, um, and my belief for the Hall of Fame, it's the Gordie Howes, it's the Terry Sawchucks, it's the Red Kellys, it's Ted Lindsay's, it's the Sid Abels, it's the Steve Eisermans, it's the Lidstroms, those Fedorov. Those are the players. I mean, the Jean Beliveaus, the Dave Keons of the world. They're the cream of the crop. Guys like me, I've always thought I was like in the group below. But so when I got the phone call, and it'd been, I don't know, it had been 15 years or whatever since I had retired. As soon as I got the phone call, I knew the voices that were on the phone, and I swear to God, my heart just dropped. I went, whoa! But the only thing, what meant the most to me was because my mom had already passed. The most important thing to me, and I asked them, I said, when can I call my father? So, and they said, well, we're waiting. We have to have a press conference. And then, wait till like 6 o'clock. So my dad actually was doing a charity event up in Toronto that day. So I called Marty at 6. He goes, yeah, we already know you're in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, wow, how'd you know already? So that's getting in the Hall of Fame. The most important thing for me was to make sure my father knew. And like I said, in my Hall of Fame speech, like I said, Dad asked me one day, "Why didn't you wear my jersey as a player?" And I said the first thing came to my mind is I'm putting his jersey on when I'm up there up on the stage. So to me, the most important thing was I got the opportunity to thank my dad and my mother for all they did for me. Otherwise, not a chance I would have ever been made it to the Hall of Fame without them.
That's incredible. What amazing memories you have. And Mark, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much. And thanks for tuning in to Catching Up with Carly, presented by Meyer. Back to you.
Thank you, Carly and Mark. What a great father-son duo that is, Mark and Gordie Howe. Carly, we're going to have you stick with us for Bet You Didn't Know, presented by Motor City Casino Hotel. But before we get into our Bet You Didn't Know for the day, Carly, you grow a great mustache. I never knew that about you. It's like fun fact.
I didn't know that was happening. When I saw that, I was like, wait, what's going on? What is on my screen right now? That's pretty funny.
It was funny. It was good. I don't know if yours or Art's was better, but you're definitely a close second if Art takes the lead there.
Well,
Art, I think you should grow a beard.
I could grow a beard. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll. Sure, nothing like a heat wave and me growing a beard. They kind of coincide. Yeah, I'm a little down right now. I have to. I'm very honest with you two, as you know, Danielle and Carly. I'm getting flooded with texts right now of people begging me to put the mask back on.
No.
I mean, come on now. I mean, that's a little cruel, isn't it? I mean, I think it's a stylish mask. Yeah, I mean,
take that off.
It's stylish. I'll wear. I mean, come on. Everybody's razzing me right now, and I feel. Not that I'm really self-conscious in that vein. Just look at me. But I mean, with that said, though, come on, guys, lay off a little bit. I want to say something real quickly. Carly, I thought you did an excellent job. Look at that. That I like. This. This beard is kind of growing on me, actually. I kind of like the way I look. I mean, that's like one of the best pictures I've ever taken in my life. I mean, I don't even, it doesn't even look like me. But I want to say this, Carly, because you did a great job. Many, many years ago, Colleen and Gordie Howe wrote a book called And How. And I served, Kevin Allen also wrote that, the Hockey Hall of Fame writer that we've had on The Word on Woodward. And what was really great about it is that I hosted these book signings with Gordie and Colleen at various venues, you know, whether they were bookstores or restaurants or sports bars, and we always had dinner afterwards. And to sit down, literally in between Colleen and Gordie Howe, and have those two. First of all, you could tell they were totally in love. The way they interacted with each other was absolutely tremendous. But you could just see, I think, from that Mark Howe interview, what a great job they did with their children. I mean, Mark Howe's a great guy, and one of the highlights of my life was to be able to, sit down with Gordie and Colleen. She was instrumental. She was the first female agent in all of sports. I mean, just two really, really great people. And Mark Howe, and I'm telling you, every time I see him put his father's jersey on, I've seen that clip several times at the Hall of Fame for the first time. It gets me emotional just because it's the first time. He would never wear his dad's jersey. He wore it then when he gets into the Hall of Fame. That's what makes sports great. That was just a great moment. But again, just a great job, just a great interview. And, if you can't tell, I'm a big fan of the Howe family.
They're an incredible family. Yeah, Mark's nothing but sweet.
I agree. Great job with that, Carly. The iconic family, especially in the city of Detroit. You guys, we're going to get to Bet You Didn't Know right now. And we bet you didn't know that a group of tigers is actually called a streak. So today, we're going to take a look at some of the longest streak in Tigers history. And Art, why don't you kick this one off for us?
Well, when I was a boy, I used to go to Tiger Stadium a lot. And the first thing I ever did, every time I got to Tiger Stadium, I would go to the front of the stadium there at Michigan and Trumbull, and there was a plaque, which is still there at Comerica Park, of Ty Cobb. And, the greatest Tiger of all time, a genius in spikes. Well, in 1911, Ty Cobb had a 40-game hitting streak, which is still the Tiger record. From May 15th, it lasted 7 weeks long. So from May 15th to roughly the end of June, it was 40 games. At the time, he hit 476. He was 80 for 168. He scored 40 runs. At that time, the 40-game hitting streak was the longest in American League history. It is now the third longest in baseball history. So Ty Cobb, we talk about him, how great he was. He also had streaks of 35 and 25 games. But, he leads the major leagues. His career average is 366. His Tiger career average is 368. It's the best in baseball. By the time this genius in spikes, the Georgia Peach, are you listening, Chase Pearson? It's a little bit of an inside joke there to Chase. But with that said, by the time he hung it up, he spent 22 years with the Tigers. Last couple of years, he was with the Oakland Athletics, who are now the Oakland A's. The Oakland Athletics, he had set, this is amazing, he had set 90 major league records, 90. Some of them still hold true today, and he played from like 1905 to 1924. 40-game hitting streak, still the longest in Tiger history, third longest in baseball, but, incredible. But the thing is, 40-game hitting streak, you can be 1 for 4 and get a hitting streak. And, when you kind of add it all up, that's maybe not that great of an average for the streak. I'm not a math major, thank God, but he hit 476 in those 40 games. I mean, that's almost 500. He was almost getting a hit every time, he got up to bat. Every other time. I mean, it's just an amazing streak. I mean, that's that to me, and I'm so glad that, the perception of Ty Cobb for a number of decades was not very good. Well, obviously that was proved that Al Stump, his biographer, so to speak, had a little bit of a vendetta against him, where a lot of stuff was made up. I mean, not only was he a great baseball player, and especially towards the end of his life, and he he was also a pretty good guy, which we don't hear that much about. And look at that old English tee. Look at that. And those uniforms were hot. I mean, those were flannel. I mean, they're playing in the humidity of Michigan, and he's not even cracking a sweat. He was that good. Not only was he a great baseball player, he never sweated. And there he is with the Oakland A's, the old elephant, but getting older, Babe Ruth, one of the legendaries of the guys of the game. I can go on about Ty Cobb forever. I think I'll shut up about it, but I'm telling you right now, 40-game hitting streak, pretty darn good.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that, but I'm going to talk about the Iron Man. We all remember, obviously, Cal Ripken, who broke Lou Gehrig's consecutive games started record, but not too many people know which Tiger is the closest to that record, okay? Tigers Hall of Fame second baseman Charlie Gehringer played up 511 consecutive games, spanning 5 different seasons. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Like, I remember back in elementary school, they would hand out perfect attendance awards that I never got. But so if they did that across the MLB, I bet you Gehringer would definitely win that award. I mean, that's incredible. 511 consecutive games, spanning 5 different seasons. That's amazing. I'm impressed. But Daniela, what's your streak back? Let's hear
it. Just to second that, Carly, I would not have had the perfect attendance award either. Yeah. And I'd have to guess Art wouldn't either. So that's just a guess though, Art. No offense. That's just a guess. But I'm going to
what?
Go ahead, Art.
I only skipped school one time in my life. One time, it was in 8th grade, to ride my brand new Stingray bike with my buddies at Hines Park, through the trails of Hines Park. And I was so nervous. I remember going back to the house that day, and my parents asking me how was school, and I thought I was going to crack. I and tell them I skipped. Only skipped school for one day. I like school. I was editor of the newspaper.
Why didn't you ride your bike after school? Why did you have to skip the school day?
Because I was being a rebel, Carly. I was being different. I was, trying to, be, I might have tried my first cigarette for the first time that day. Although I don't smoke, I never have smoked. But I was just trying to see how the other side lived, and quite frankly, I did not like it.
That was a big day for
you.
Riding his bike and smoking cigarettes.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Big banana seed handlebar things. I mean, it was purple, like a purple Schwinn Stingray bike. I thought I was really kind of, hey man, I'm looking good. I'm like Dennis Hopper, an Easy Rider or something. Here I go. Going through the trails at Hines Park, which if you're a West Sider like me, that's the Rouge River is kind of our lake. So just driving through there and all that. It was but I only skipped school once in my entire life, and it was that day. Right around now too.
That is pretty impressive. So you were close to getting some kind of award like that perfect attendance award. You were close, but no cigar on that one. We're going to talk about the 94 Tigers now to wrap up Tigers streaks. They hit a home run in 25 straight games from May 25th to June 19th. Now we've got to remember that this was a strike shortened season, but regardless, the Tigers had 7 players on their roster with 10 or more home runs. Of course, they were led by big hitters, Cecil Fielder and Kirk Gibson, 2 guys that we hear a lot about from back in these times. But when the season was stopped, the Tigers were second in the league for home runs with 161 home runs. So imagine if they would have had a full season that year. Who knows what their numbers would have been like?
No kidding.
Pretty darn good. Yeah.
Yeah,
that is
pretty darn good.
Your favorite Tiger on that.
Pardon me?
All right.
My favorite
Tiger on that board.
I mean, my favorite. Lou Whitaker is my all-time favorite Tiger. Although I was going to say Charlie Gehringer, though, unfortunately, as much as Lou should be in the Hall of Fame, Charlie is the all-time second baseman for the Tigers. I mean, he's from Fowlerville, Michigan. He was the Iron Man, just a great player. I think his career batting average is like 342 or something. I mean, just a great player. Lou's right there. It's like 1 and 1A with Lou. You know, they're like Siamese twins, almost joined at the hips in my book. But you know what? When you showed that list, I completely, you know, there's always a guy that you see and you go, oh my God, I forgot he played for the Tigers. I can't remember Junior Felix playing for the Tigers. And he was, you know, he had like 15 home runs or whatever it was on that list. But, you know, yeah, hey, pretty impressive. They could have had maybe 300 home runs or something, you know, depending on how the season went. And, you know, Travis Fryman, great Tiger. I mean, some great names, but none of them was better. Back then, nothing was better than Big Daddy, Cecil Fielder, getting up to the plate and cranking that ball out. I mean, you know, he just, you know, he could, you know, he had so much power that a check swing could go out. You know, I mean, he was that great of a power hitter, great home run hitter. You know, played for Toronto. Then I think he went to Japan, and the Tigers got him from Japan. You know, was playing in Japan. As a matter of fact, if we were today, maybe we see him in the Korean Baseball League or something on ESPN at 4 a.m, games that I watch. But very impressive. But, you know, Tigers are a great team. We've talked about it. 1901. You know, they've had a lot of great players, iconic players. Perhaps, you know, we just talked about Ty Cobb, perhaps the greatest baseball player of all time. And if you look at it, we just talked to Mark Howe, perhaps the greatest hockey player of all time, and Gordie Howe. Two of those guys played for Detroit teams. You know, we're talking icons, immortals, best of the sport. Then you go over to, you know, the Lions. It doesn't get much better at running back, and maybe Barry Sanders, if he wouldn't have retired after 10 years, could have been the best football player of all time, not Sands quarterback. And, you know, and the Pistons have had, you know, Isaiah Thomas, regardless of what that, which I didn't watch, the Last Dance, which I don't care to watch. You know, Isaiah, you know, all he did was have winning records against Bird and Magic and Michael Jordan. I mean, so, you know, give me a break. I mean, you know, Detroit's had a lot of great players, and, you know, it doesn't get much better than the guys that we just talked about.
And there you have it, you guys, your history lesson with our Regner.
Hey, once I found out Double D was an agent, it's just changed my whole outlook of the game.
That does it for Bet You Didn't Know today, guys, presented by Motor City Casino Hotel. Big shout out to them for presenting Bet You Didn't Know this week and every week right here on the Word on Woodward. Carly, before we let you go, we've got to have you catch us up with what's been going on social media. So why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Thanks, Daniela. Okay, so first off, we have Moritz Seider, you know, Red Wings 2020 first round draft pick and Grand Rapids Griffins player. He's a big deal. He's a good hockey player, but he's definitely a class clown. Look at this picture he posted on Instagram. And he got some pretty hilarious comments. So we see him giving crap to Tim Stutzel, talking about his haircut. And then at the bottom, we see Taro Hirose chirping teammate Dominic Turgeon about his video game playing skills in Call of Duty. It gave me a pretty good laugh. So if you guys want to go check out the rest of those comments, head on over to Seider's Instagram. And then on the Tigers side, yesterday was National Mascot Day, and the Tigers celebrated with a very cute video of Paz texting with Miggy about keeping in shape for the return of the season. So check it out. So he was texting Miggy, telling him he's doing push-ups, but, you know, it's against the wall. Pause. That's what my push-ups look like, too. Really cute video. Head on over to the Tigers Twitter to see the full thing. But that's all I have for this part of Let's Socialize. I'll see you guys later in the show. Send in your questions. Don't forget, we'll answer them later at the end of the Word on Woodward. Daniela?
Thank you, Carly. We'll see you later for Let's Socialize. As she said, you guys, make sure you're sending in your questions. We will answer them in the last segment of the show, Let's Socialize. You guys, we've still got a lot coming up before that, though. We've got interviews with former Tiger Brandon Inge and NHL executive Kim Davis, who is going to touch on some very important social issues for us. That's going to be a great interview. But right now, we're going to get into downtown Hockey Town, and this interview is going to kind of get into what the Red Wings are doing with their Learn, Play, Score initiative. All right, everybody, let's get into Downtown Hockeytown, presented by our friends at Labatt Blue Light. Today's Downtown Hockeytown is going to be a little different because we have a really special program to talk about. So our two guests for today are Jason McCrimmon, founder of Detroit Ice Stream's Youth Hockey Association, and the director of community relations and the Detroit Red Wings Foundation, Kevin Brown. Gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are really excited to learn about what you guys have going on this summer.
Thank you for having us.
Let's start with you, Kevin, and just kind of describe to me, because we always know what the street hockey and the D program is with the Red Wings, and obviously things have to be a little bit different due to COVID-19. So tell me what the virtual street hockey program is going to look like.
For the first time ever, we're offering an opportunity for 1,000 kids across the city of Detroit to enjoy the excitement of street hockey from home. And so this new program will give the kids an opportunity to experience the sport in a new way from their home, and have our friend Jason leading the modules each week for the kids to learn from.
Well, it really sounds like a great, Jason. So you're leading this, a guy my age, I know I look very, very youthful, but when I hear virtual stuff, I'm trying to get a grasp of what exactly is it, I mean, so if I'm thinking of signing my, my little boy or my little girl up and it's free, it sounds great. I know there's quizzes. I mean, it's a huge program. What exactly will you be doing? What are you teaching them? What is virtual street hockey, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, well, like I said, it's very innovative on the Red Wings part, Kevin's part, to come up with this. And I think it's pretty cool. We'll be in a situation where basically they can literally go and freeze us whatever time they want. They can go back and watch the videos. We're doing everything outside. We're grabbing household items, everything from a tennis ball to a paper towel roll to a trash can, you name it. We're going to do stick handling. We're going to talk about the game of hockey. We're going to talk about, show how to pass, how to shoot. We'll deal with different things, dealing with building self-esteem, from talking about courage and the way we go through things and the way we should handle things, just to be a better all-around person, to be a team player as we get through this pandemic. So the virtual aspect of it, it kind of gives you a range that'll kind of last forever. Most camps you'll go to and you say, I remember that camp I went to 3 or 4 years ago. With this one, you can go back in the archives, you can look it back up. We'll be outside at Clark Park, we'll be in driveways, we'll be at Little Caesars Arena, and we're giving you just a lot of different spaces that you can do and play the game of hockey anywhere outside. So it's just kind of giving you the aspect of hockey can be played anywhere.
Jason, you started your own hockey career right here in the city of Detroit. When did it become a passion of yours to teach the inner city youth the game of hockey and work to minimize the barriers that do exist within the game?
Oh, from a very, very young age. I was very fortunate to be able to play. My older brothers played. I went to the arena, followed after them. I used to hate the game, to be honest, because it was so cold. So when I used to go out there, I used to cry, all the little stuff. So, the stuff that's between us. But, I really, it was a very, very cold game, but my brothers played. So I was following the footsteps and fell in love with it, and was just very, very grateful to play at, a high level, and was fortunate to be able to link up with Kevin through Marlowe and the city of Detroit, and it's just a huge partnership that we're building to be able to do something for these kids. But for me personally, ever since I was young, I wanted to be in a situation after I made it to where I would to be able to give back and do the same for the kids that look just like me.
Kevin, I know that this registration started on Wednesday, on the 17th, and it's a 6-week program. It goes from July 7th through August 13th. And I know it's an extension of the very innovative initiative of the Learn, Play, Score initiative, I guess for a better word, the $1 million commitment the Red Wings have made. We were at that press conference. The league was there, the NHLPA, the NHL, everybody's on board. Gary Bettman gives a video. Kim Davis is there, union reps. I mean, it seemed like a great, and it's a great initiative. Then all of a sudden, COVID-19 puts everything on hold. How difficult has it been for you and Jason to come up and keep this, what is a great, great program, to keep it going and keep it top of mind when we have so much going on right now?
I tell you, momentum is so important when you're talking about equitable access to sports like in the city of Detroit. And so the momentum coming off that $1 million announcement and that fantastic conference with all of the individuals that you mentioned really set us up for us here. And so we've been able to reimagine the work that we were going to be doing here in the city of Detroit with Detroit Parks and Rec, and bring it to that virtual setting, knowing that kids unfortunately can't be together right now at recreation centers across the city and to participate in the organized programming that they were excited about being a part of. And so this new at-home initiative with Street Hockey in the D really brings everything that we were planning to teach the kids here in the city of Detroit, packages it up and brings it home in a really special way. And what's unique about this is we also baked into it that every kid who registers for the program, all 1,000 kids, will have a stick and a ball that will be provided to them when their parent registers for the free program. And so they'll be ready to succeed on day one when they begin the virtual program in July.
Kevin, I know that the Detroit Red Wings Foundation and the Community Relations Department partners very heavily with Detroit Public Schools and the Detroit Parks and Recreation Group. Can you talk about the partnerships and how that's helped you make this come to life?
Partnerships are so important to the work that we do in the city of Detroit, the state of Michigan, and working with fantastic organizations like Detroit Public Schools Community District and Detroit Parks and Rec and the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southeastern Michigan. They have really helped us bring to life the great work of Learn, Play, Score to make sure that kids across the city receive the experiences and the values that come from being a part of the sport of hockey. And so whether we're teaching courage or perseverance or teamwork, each of those organizations have come together with the Red Wings to say that this is really important, and the access to not only playing the sport, but what the sport brings is truly going to make a difference in a child's life here in the city of Detroit.
Jason, I'm kind of curious. These kids, they're all excited. They're all, and you were in their shoes at one time. You were just starting to learn the game. Is there one aspect of hockey that little kids just have a tough time grasping? Is it stick handling? Is it shooting? Is it do they come up to you? If you hear this question again, it'll be the millionth time. About, oh my gosh, here's another stick handling question. I mean, is there something that binds them all together where they're interested in the game, as you very well know, but boy, this is a lot tougher game than it looks when I'm watching the Red Wings on the ice.
Oh, I think it will come down to stick handling, being able to skate and stick handle at the same time. So being out there with these guys doing the street hockey, it'll be pretty much running and stick handling and shooting at the same time, putting it all together. And that's the beauty of the game, though. You do so much at one time to kind of create the overall recipe to have success. So I think those kids, no question, like I said, I love the kids asking questions, so that's good. So I mean, they want to learn. I still go through it with my junior guys about shooting the puck and passing the puck. So I'm just excited to get started so I can hear those questions. Like I actually miss hearing those questions now that we're not at the rink as much.
Okay, Jason and Calvin, this might be for both of you. Maybe it's only for one of you. You guys can divide it among yourselves here. I read this, and I'm hearing that there's a series of quizzes after you complete, a certain class, I guess, and that you receive a mini hockey stick and a mini goal set in the mail. I am kind of wondering, somebody like me, a very much an overachiever as a child, not so much as an adult. Is this something that I can expect to have, like, at the completion of this 6-week course, 18 mini hockey sticks and 18 mini goal sets, or am I way off base here?
Well, I'll let Kev take that question, but I doubt it about the overachieving part, though.
I appreciate the overachiever, right? Yeah. So the way it's going to work is the kids are going to watch the videos, and then they'll complete a quiz after each video. And the quizzes aren't difficult. They're to make sure that the kids are paying attention, and really to make sure that we are reinforcing the information that's in the videos. And if a kid sees a question and goes, gosh, you know what, I don't know to that, they're able to go back to the video and reference it. And so for the purposes of you're in there, the kids have to complete all the videos, all the quizzes, and then at the end, they'll receive a mini hockey stick goal set in the mail. So just one, but that's all you really need at the house.
Well, guys, one more question to wrap this interview up, and I want both of you to answer it. Jason, we'll start with you. I know both of you have a special place in your heart for the game of hockey, and you really want these programs to make a difference. But what are the main things that you want the participants of this program to take away from the street hockey in the D?
Oh, well, for me, like I said, we just kind of just piggybacking off the same situation of us doing some stuff in Detroit off the nonprofit aspect of getting more kids involved in hockey on the ice. This is just another huge arm of it, and having the Red Wings and the city of Detroit actually believing in it and backing it is amazing. Of course, the NHL as well, but it's really putting kids in a position in the city to understand hockey is a game that's accessible, and it's a fun game that we should also be adding to the repertoire on top of basketball, football, everything else that we do. But the game of hockey is here. Hockey town is hockey town, and we got to kind of revive it. And I think this is one of the steps that we're taking to revive it, and I think it's awesome.
That's great, Jason.
That was
Thanks for that. I'd be remiss on my side if I didn't mention two things. The first one is I want to thank Chevrolet for their support of street hockey in the D at home. They've put a lot of faith in the work that we're doing in the city of Detroit to get kids active in playing sports, and particularly playing hockey. And so we appreciate that. And my second note, Jason mentioned a person earlier in the interview, Marlo. Marlo Stoudemeyer was my co-architect. Unfortunately, a few weeks ago, we lost him to COVID-19. And, I will say that this program, everything about it pays homage to Marlo and what he meant to the city of Detroit and what he meant to the Red Wings organization. He truly made sure that that Learn, Play, Score got off the ground, and that we as an organization were connected with the right in the city of Detroit to create those access points for so many kids here in the city. And as we continue to grow Learn, Play, Score and grow programs like Street Hockey in the D, we're always thinking about Marlo and the work that he put into this initiative to life.
Well, Kevin, I can tell you this. I know he would be super proud of all of the work that you guys are doing, especially right now when things aren't as easy to accomplish. You guys are doing great things, and we were so honored to have you on to talk about this new program. And I look forward to the future of the Learn, Play, Score. Again, thank you so much for joining us. And a big thank you to Labatt Blue Light for presenting Downtown Hockey Town. Labatt Blue Light, refreshing Canadian Pilsner. Visit your local retailer when safe to pick up some Labatt Blue Light. Great to hear from those guys, and great to see what they're doing with the virtual school, Hockey in the D program. It's very cool, and I'm glad that they are able to continue it this season, even though that we are battling with the COVID-19. They're doing a great job. So great to hear from Jason and Kevin. And you guys, I hope Tigers fans are ready, because we're gonna check in with a former Tiger. Now, everybody, let's welcome today's guest for Brush Street Beat, presented by McLaren. We are joined by Brandon Inge, former Detroit Tiger. Brandon, it's so great to see you virtually. How have you been? I know you've been spending some time in an RV, getting some camping in. How have you been?
I've been great. I'm glad to actually get back outside. I think both of my kids are starting to play travel baseball, so get outside and start watching the baseball again. So I'm glad to be out of a house. That was hard for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we really appreciate you joining us today. And we're going to start this off by talking about some of the classic Tigers games that Fox Sports Detroit has been re airing during this time of no baseball. Coming up this week, we're going to get to look at your game, the Tigers game, I should say, against the Cubs 14 years ago now, where you guys hit 8 home runs. 2 of those home runs were from you. Really, what I want to know about that game is you guys were obviously hot, the bats were hot. Is that something that is just a mindset? Is that the focus, or is it just, you guys are reading the pitcher well that game?
It was a little bit more than that on that game. I don't remember a lot of things, but I remember a lot of team things where we all came together as a team. So Kenny Rogers is going for that very crucial win, and we all loved him as a leader. He stepped in to that role with us, and he kind of just led our pitching staff. I mean, he was like a player coach, basically. And so we all knew that this was a big day for him, and it was crazy how much respect we had for him. And so that, I guess, motivation to try to win a ball game for him and get him some run support so he could just cruise through his very important day, I think that is actually what took over. I don't think you could have thrown Nolan Ryan against us that day, and we would have found a way to put some runs up for Kenny Rogers. And I just remember every hit we got, every home run we got, it was like, is that enough? Can he win the game for that? And I just remember everyone going down the lineup, top to bottom, just putting on great at bats. And it was just one of those fluke days too, where everything we hit went out of the ballpark. It was a great day. We enjoyed that one.
To kind of follow up on what Daniela said, is that because no matter what the pitcher, you just said, hey, if Nolan Ryan was up there, we were going to hit him. Is that it doesn't matter what they're throwing, you guys were just going to hit it?
Yeah, we were going to handle business for Kenny. That was our thing. And in all honesty, that's the way we kind of did things that year anyway. We wanted to win a ball game. Jim Leland told us, play as hard as you can. And, not for him, but for us as a group. And that's kind of the way we handle business. But that day was a little extra special because we had a guy, Kenny, that we really wanted to get a win for. So it really did. You're right. It was like beach balls thrown up there that day. We were just licking our chops, waiting to get a swing off at him.
Let's look at the opposite side of things for a pitcher, because you were a part of 2 of Justin Verlander's no-hitters, I should say, and also a part of Galarraga's near perfect game. As a player in that game, not being the pitcher, so you're watching from either your position, wherever you're at on the field, or the dugout. What is that perspective like?
It's a little different. There's nerves. You're obviously trying to do something really well there. You're trying to protect your teammate, protect his no-hitter, protect his perfect game. On the flip side, I think if you're really, really into it, I wanted the ball every time. In my mind, I'm like, please hit it to me every time. Because the worst possible thing that could happen is you not have a play for 9 innings, and then that last play is coming to you, and you haven't had any sort of feeling throughout the game. It's literally the hardest thing you could possibly do. So I'm like, please hit me the ball. Please hit me the ball so I can stay fresh and have a good feeling so I can make the play across the infield. When it's accomplished, it is the greatest feeling. And it's not just that guy that did it. It was a collective team effort, but still it's a great feeling. And when it doesn't happen, not so much of a good feeling. Not so much of a good feeling. And you know which one I'm talking about.
Well, I want to ask you about the Galarraga game. We had Armando on a couple of weeks ago, and there's 2 plays besides Jim Joyce's call that people remember. One was the ball bouncing off, I think, Galarraga's ankle, going right to you, and you made the play. And Austin Jackson's like Willie Mays over-the-shoulder catch in the 9th inning. When you're during the course of that game, do you allow yourself to get caught up in the moment? Not only am I going to be part of a no-hitter, which I've been part of, I'm going to be part of a perfect game, which doesn't happen very often. Do you get caught up in that emotion? And did you thinking, hey, I had a big hand in this? I mean, Galarraga, this thing just bounced right to me, but I still had to make the play.
The really sad part about this is I'm not sure what inning that happened. So funny thing about that is usually my ADD kicks in and I'm so focused on one thing and just win the ball game. And then it's usually the 6th or 7th inning where I'm like, wait a minute. Did you just say he's got a no-hitter going or a perfect game? And then I'm like, oh, my God. Then it starts to set in. So it depends on what inning that was that I made that play. If it was early in the game, hell, I probably didn't even know. But if it was later in the game, I probably would have been a little stressed out.
I know you already said that it's obviously not fun to be on that side of a no-hitter or a perfect game, but Armando Galarraga handled it so well, and he still does when he talks about it. He finds every positive thing that you could possibly find from a situation like that. But for you, what was that moment like when they called him safe, and what was the mood like in the clubhouse after that?
It's really surreal. It's hard to describe because you're still winning the ball game. So your team is winning, but you know that your teammate worked his tail off the entire game to accomplish this amazing feat. And then all of a sudden on the very last play, it gets stripped away from him in the not right way. I mean, it was obviously he was out, but it's the weirdest feeling. I didn't have words for it. Honestly, I felt bad for him, and not only him, I felt bad for Jim Joyce. I really did, because I know Jim Joyce at that point. Jeff Jones was our bullpen coach at that time, and Jim Joyce and Jeff Jones played college baseball together, so they're good friends. And anyone who's good friends with Jeff Jones is a good friend of mine, because they're just awesome people. And so I felt bad for him in a second, because I know he felt terrible about stripping that away from that kid. And honestly, I don't know if you guys know, but the next night when they were bringing the game ball and the lineup cards out that day, Joyce lost his mind. He started crying about it, how bad he felt about it. So, but in the moment, you feel terrible, and you feel like there's nothing you can do. But, Galarraga and Joyce both handled that so professionally, and kind of proud of them for that, though.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that was, a real bad situation, which could have turned into a real ugly situation, was handled with class and dignity by both guys, and we were able to move on. And a bad moment became really a great moment and true sportsmanship. I want to get into your playing career a little bit. I know you spent 12 years with the Tigers. I remember you playing third, but looking up and doing a little bit of research on you, you played every positional position except pitcher at least once.
Yeah.
Were you the first super utility man, or when Jim Leland or whomever, maybe even Tram, says, "Hey, we're going to make you a catcher"? Don't get me wrong, you're not a small guy, but when you think of catcher, you're thinking of some big behemoth who's going to block the plate. Or were you the first who was versatile enough that you, as an athlete, that you could play any position?
I'm not sure how it quite unfolded. I know that I guess there was a need for the Tigers at that point in the catching spot. I didn't know it at that point. I was young. I was just coming out of college, so I didn't know what the Tigers' background was. But I still remember coming into not spring training, sorry. I went to Jamestown, New York. It's the first place I reported out of college. And actually, Trammell was there. Alan Trammell was there, and he was the infield roving coach at that point. And he said, I actually went to him. I said, "Do I need to take ground balls?" And he's like, "You can if you want." He goes, "You'll probably never see it here. You'll never see shortstop here." And I was like, "Okay, fine, Mr. Trammell. Whatever you say is fine." So I put my infield glove down and I started doing catching. And from that point on, it was catching nonstop. Now, I think at that point in baseball, I think there was trying to be like some sort of transition where they were going away from the big behemoth guys like you're talking about, and trying to find someone who had a little bit of speed, who could catch and throw really well. Because, in all honesty, what do you really need big guys behind the plate for? I mean, you're trying to give a low target in order to block the plate. That's about the only thing you need a big guy for. Other than that, and so I was happy to do it. It worked out well for me. And honest to God, I learned more about the game of baseball being a catcher than I did my whole college career at shortstop. So it all worked out for the best.
I mean, how different do you have to be? You played so many different positions, though. I mean, you played every position but pitch. Is it just baseball to you, or do you have to really say, okay, I'm in center today, or I'm a left fielder today, or I'm playing second, or I'm at short? I mean, is it a different mindset, or is it just, hey, when the ball's hit to me, I just have to make a play on it?
It was different at first, making sure that I was comfortable in spring training with all the positions. Basically, this happened when we signed Pudge Rodriguez. When we signed him, I'm like, all right, well, I'm not starting over that guy. He's legendary, I'm just going to get on the field wherever I can get on the field. And so then it was spring training was third base, shortstop, second base, ground balls everywhere, taking fly balls everywhere, so that I was comfortable. So that when I got in the game, it was second nature. Then, like midway through the season, it was second nature, and it was kind of fun for me to go, okay, where am I hitting in the lineup? I kind of looked down the lineup. I'm like, all right, I'm hitting in the probably 9 hole, which is normal for me. And then I'm like, well, what number do I have beside my name? That was the funnest part. So try to figure out where I was going to play. So it was fun. It kept it interesting.
Brandon, when you look at what the Tigers are going through right now, they're definitely in a rebuild. You became a Tiger, I believe, in 2001. So you saw a rebuild firsthand. You were part of that rebuild. Are there similarities between what the Tigers are doing right now and what you went through? And that could you let Tiger fans know, hey, eventually this team is going to be back where you expect them to be?
Yes, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Don't worry. We will get there again. And put it this way, this team is light years ahead of where we were in 03. In case you haven't known about 2003 when watching right now, we were terrible. And I mean, terrible. And 119 losses, is that what it was? I think it was 119, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It was terrible. Not fun. But I've even talked to a few of the guys, younger guys there, Johnny Schreiber, some of those guys coming up right now, and they ask me stuff about that. I'm telling them, I'm like, listen, you learn more from seasons like this than you will in seasons that you win. It's easy to win. It's really hard to get knocked down every single day and find a way to come back the next day. So if they stick this out to where they can rebuild and get some big key components for this, then they're going to be fine. They'll actually, the guys that make it through this will be better off in the long run. So they just need to stick it out. Plus the pitching that they have in the minor leagues right now coming up, once they throw some key pieces in together, I think they're going to be just fine. I'll be excited to see it anyway.
Yeah, we say it all the time, Brandon, that there is a really, really bright future for the Tigers, and it's going to happen sooner than everybody expects. We've got some great prospects, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us, and another big thank you to our friends at McLaren Healthcare for bringing us Brush Street Beat this week and every week right here on the Word on Woodward. Great to hear from Brandon Inge there. He was awesome. It's great to check in with him. He had some really positive things to say about the Tigers, as you saw there. And guys, he was a part of that Armando Galarraga almost perfect game. So we're going to get a chance to relive that again, thanks to our friends at Fox Sports Detroit. That game will air tonight. And then look, you've got some more great pitching throughout the rest of the week and weekend. Tomorrow, you're going to see Verlander's no-hitter, and then Verlander again in the 2013 ALDS Game 5. So a great weekend of some pitching, topped off with Boyd's one-hitter. So like I said, you got to tune into those games on Fox Sports Detroit. Great, great pitching. And you guys, without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Art for today's headliner.
Thank you, Daniela. It is time for the headliner, brought to you by Miller Lite. Let's bring in the Senior Executive Vice President of Social Impact, Growth Initiatives, and Legislative Affairs for the NHL, and that is Kim Davis. Kim, thanks for joining us today. Really, really appreciate you giving some time, which I know has been a very, very busy, it's probably always busy when you're working for the NHL, but I assume, especially what's been transpiring lately, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Happy to be here, Art. Thank you.
I really want to start with you explaining what your job entails.
So my job, a long title, mouthful, really incorporates 5 major areas. One is building relationships in communities, really, really important, alongside our clubs across North America. Growing our sport, particularly with new audiences, the culture of our sport, and how that culture is received, both by existing as well as potentially new fans. I have responsibility also for youth hockey programming that comes out of our Industry Growth Fund, which is a partnership with NHLPA and the league. And then finally, our relationships and our partnerships legislatively, both on Capitol Hill and in Ottawa.
Well, you know, the reason I wanted you to explain that is because your first experience with hockey was not a good one. Your son was at an all-male private school in Connecticut. He decided to try the game. He was called the N-word. You pulled him out of the sport. I am wondering, when the NHL approaches you to take this position, I mean, did that have any impact, what happened to him and how this game treated you in the beginning? Because a lot of people, including myself, would have walked away from this game and never looked back.
No, I can't say that it had an impact per se. What I would say is that it informed my understanding that there were some real issues, particularly at the youth level, and that not just children, but parents needed to to be educated, and that really has become a major focus of my work.
I've seen a variety of interviews and read so much about you in the last several days here that there are 3 points that you said that we need to make sure happen in order for hockey to be inclusive. The hockey is everyone. They're listening, white men of power being advocates, and also time and resources to build up communities to advance anti-racist work. Can you elaborate on these points and why they are so important, and if we're going to not only come together but advance as a society and as a culture?
In my op-ed and in the league statement, it was the first time they had seen the words black and racism used together. And that was shocking to me because anti-racist work requires all of us to be allies, and we are a white sport. It's a fact. We shouldn't hide or run from that. You know, honoring traditions doesn't mean you have to be a traditionalist. And so when I talk about white men in positions of power, that is the makeup of our sport. And so we have to ensure that just like we become competent in any other area of our business, that we are listeners and learners to become competent in what anti-racist work calls upon us to do. And so that's the first step in this journey. And it's a disciplined approach, I think, in that in order to really move forward, you have to start with being a good listener and a good learner.
When you talk about time and resources to build up communities to advance anti-racist work, I know it's a league initiative, but is this something that you really have to stress to each individual team? Because whether you're here in Detroit, your hometown of Chicago, or Raleigh, North Carolina, I mean, this is something that needs to be embraced by the entire league. This has to be a collective of the entire league.
Yeah, there's no question. The power of our league is the power of 31, soon to be 32. And so none of it matters if we don't localize this. And I'm excited that over the 2.5 years that I've been with the league, I've visited and had really deep engagement at the local level with over 27 clubs. And so those relationships exist, and my ability to provide them with insights, with data, with counsel to help them execute this work at the local level is really what our partnership is about between the league and the clubs. Yeah, it's critical.
Before COVID-19, I saw you in Detroit. There was a great press conference. Chris Illich, Gary Bettman had provided a video. NHLPA was on board for the Learn, Play, and Score program, which is picking up an initiative, a $1 million commitment to cultivate hockey in youth. And obviously, when you can have a program like Learn, Play, Score, which not only teaches kids hockey, but also life lessons and skill lessons, it really has to be something that I would imagine that you just would like to see embraced by the entire NHL.
Yeah, Learn, Play, Score is a marvelous example of a model. And I talked about models and frameworks. It's a wonderful example of a model that we were lucky enough for over a year before it was launched to partner with the Red Wings in putting together. And it really has a couple of components. One is a shift in mindset to understand that engaging with currently underrepresented communities is about growth and not just about charity. And while charitable efforts are important and we continue to do that, the mindset shift to growth allows us to reimagine how our game is going to grow and how we're going to make money. And that at the end of the day, we're a business, and that's important. And so Learn, Play, Score looks at all of the various levers that need to be pulled in order to engage a community and engage underrepresented groups, from technology and how strengthening technology in a community creates the kind of pipeline of talent, human resource talent that we ultimately need, in addition to playing and understanding the game, which may result in the next NHL player being identified. So it's a holistic approach. And it's a model, I think, for so many markets to think about.
Kim, I know we're jumping around a little bit. We only have you for a limited time, but several players have issued statements about George Floyd's death. Dylan Larkin of the Red Wings did. There were a couple that I really took to was Jonathan Toews and Patrice Bergeron. And it's weird when I've heard you talk and I've read things. You say it's really important for players to come together at this time. It's very important for white players to be on board when it comes to finding solutions to racism in hockey. I realize it'll take time. I think white people have a tendency to have it go in one ear and then right out the other. This seems to be different this time. I hope it's different this time. I pray that it's different this time. Do you get the same feeling when you see Toews, the captain of the Blackhawks, Patrice Bergeron, one of the best players in the league, where they come out and say, hey, you know what? I've turned, quote unquote, a blind eye to this, but no longer. Does that give you hope? Are we at the crossroads finally?
Yeah, it gives me hope, and it also gives me anxiety to the point you made about hoping that this is not just a moment, but this becomes a movement. And I think there are a lot of signs that suggest that it will be. One is the fact that so many of our players have stepped up on this social justice issue when it's not within the culture of our sport to do so. And they are amplifying what so many of the Black players have been talking about for so many years. And I think that we now have an opportunity to pivot and to accelerate. And I think that's what we're going to do.
I certainly hope we do. Speaking of Black players, several have issued statements. I know Evander Kane, who has never been afraid to talk about virtually any topic. I love him as a player. He formed, along with several players, including the Red Wings' Trevor Daley, who I've talked to many times about this subject. The Hockey Diversity Alliance. And it's going to interact with the NHL. How will you interact with them? I know they're separate from the league, yet their voices are going to be very, very important as we try to move forward here. Can you tell us what kind of relationship do you hope to have with the Hockey Diversity Alliance?
Sure. And in fact, I was on a 2-hour call with the Alliance on Monday night. So we are staying very connected as we are building out all of the structures to move this stuff forward. We have just announced and will be more publicly announcing a structure of committees within the NHL. One of those committees is a player inclusion committee that will be focused broadly on all of the dimensions and the intersections of need, whether we talk about race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation. I see the Alliance, and we've talked about it this way, as almost a special forces unit that will drill down within that player community on specific issues of racism for players of color, and will feed those recommendations and ideas into the structure that we're putting in place that will ultimately go to the Board of Governors. So I see them as being an integral and critical part of our dialogue and our learning. And other subcommittees like the Alliance for other intersections may spring up as we move through this work.
Have you seen positive, not only reaction, but real change as this league, the National Hockey League, continues and tries to move forward?
Well, I've seen signs that suggest that I should be cautiously optimistic, and I mean that in a very real way, in a very authentic way. I think, given the makeup of our sport, we're always going to be criticized for not doing enough. But to me, progress is measured by movement, not by destination. So the concept of hockey is for everyone is aspirational. Nobody's suggesting that we're where we need to be. We know we have a lot of work to do. I see owners, I see presidents, I see general managers stepping up, calling me, having conversations with them, willingness to sit down and have the hard conversations. We're forming the Executive Inclusion Council, which is going to be made up of presidents, owners, and general managers. As you know more than many, that those are critical audiences to both be educated, but also to have as allies, because they can make things happen in a much more accelerated way in our sport.
Can you kind of stress how important it is for white people to talk to white people? Because again, as I said, a lot of white people in one ear, out the other. This seems to be a moment where it can turn into a movement as long as white people, unfortunately, get on board.
Yeah, I don't think anyone from any particular group that has felt disenfranchised wants apologies. I think we want action. And to be clear, racism is not a black people's problem or a brown people's problem. It's everybody's problem, because it erodes the fabric of our society, and it makes us not be as strong as a nation and a country and as a world as we can be. So that everybody at every level has to interrogate their own models. I talk about people talking to their families, and you know, you don't have to be racist to engage in racism. And anti-racist work means that you have the courage when you hear a friend or a colleague or a family member not be educated about issues, that you stand up. And that's what I talk about in terms of the work that has to happen in terms of interrogating your own family models and friendship models.
I know friends are going to ask me, you didn't ask him, what can I do? I think you just answered what we can do. What is a good first step for a Red Wing fan who's sitting out there right now watching this, and what should they do?
I think the first step is exactly what I talked about at the beginning of our conversation, and that is educate yourself. Don't expect for Black and brown people to educate you. Do your work. There are countless materials and books to read and podcasts to listen to. I think one of the most powerful books for white allies is a book called White Fragility. It's an uncomfortable read. It was written by a white female professor out of Washington State, out of Seattle, and it takes courage to read it. But I think it frames for white allies the difference between being a racist and anti-racist work. And so I would strongly encourage that as one of many sources of information.
Kim Davis, Senior Vice President of Social Impact, Growth Initiative, Legislative Affairs. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. I could go on forever about this. You give me one answer, and I'm filled with not only emotion, and I mean really raw emotion. I just have so many more things that I want to ask you. We would love to have you when your schedule probably slows down. To please come back on again. Obviously, Detroit is an essential part. Anybody who's from Detroit knows what our history is, and we've come a long way. We still have a long way to go. I wish you nothing but success, and I don't want to get all emotional here, but I always like to say this to people I admire, and you're certainly one of them. Keep fighting the good fight. I'm there with you. Anything I can do, I will be there for sure. Thank you very, very much, Kim.
Thanks, Art. Enjoyed the conversation.
That is the headliner, brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light beer with great taste and only 96 calories, available for delivery. A lot of work ahead for all of us, Daniela.
Art, you are not wrong with that. And there were so many great messages in that interview. But I think one that really stuck with me is that to move forward, you have to start with being a good listener and a good learner, whether it's doing something like Jason, Kevin Brown, and the rest of the Red Wings teaching the youth of Detroit the game of hockey, along with inclusivity, or what Kim is doing on a much larger scale. Growth in this area starts with listening. And Kim is an amazing person to have as an advocate in working towards these changes.
Without question, she's very, very impressive. I really enjoyed talking to her. She had a lot of good things to say, and I really do think that one of the most important things is that if you see somebody saying something inappropriate and being borderline, at least bigoted, if not prejudice or racist, you have to call your friends out a little bit and say, do you really want to say that? Do you really feel that way? And have a conversation, have that tough conversation with your friends. And, hopefully, by doing that, it changes things. It changes your perception. And, and let's face it, they're your friends for a reason. So if you're able to, somebody you like and respect, and you hear something that's a little bit, I don't know about that. Hey, Bob, what the heck, man? What's going on here? Let's talk about it. Hopefully, that's the beginning of changing the world and changing the world for the better.
Very well said, Art. It begins with us, and it begins with us having the tough conversations when they're needed, and we can work towards all of the positive change that I'm sure is coming. Like you said, we've got a long way to go, but we have come a long way. And people like Kim are the people that we need to look up to and the people that we do need to learn from and listen to. With that being said, you guys, we're going to get to the last segment of today's show and bring in Carly Johnston. It's time for Let's Socialize, presented by AAA. Carly, I know you've been all over the social media accounts, and I know that our fans always have some great questions for us. So what do you got for us today?
That's right, Daniela. And we're going to start off with this first question that is for Art. They want to know, will the Red Wings sign the restricted free agents, Mantha, Bertuzzi, and Fabry soon? That question's from Ken. So Art, what do you think?
I think, certainly they will. I mean, Mantha and Bertuzzi, Steve has basically already said we're going to get them signed. I know a couple of weeks ago we had a question about, will any of them, because they're restricted free agents, be signed by an offer sheet? I know Montreal has been floating around a couple of times. Some of the writers out there that maybe the BT Express is going to be signed an offer sheet to the Canadians. Not going to happen. So if you hear that, please just, go about your day. I think obviously Mantha, Bertuzzi are going to be signed. I think Fabry is going to be signed. I don't think Robbie will probably get. I don't know how long his deal will be. 2-3 years, perhaps. I know that Bertuzzi and Mantha really want long-term deals, and they should get them. But right now with the draft lottery coming up a week from tomorrow, and I know we'll be talking about that extensively on next week's shows. I think Steve knows he's going to get it done. I'm sure he's kind of let the Bertuzzi camp, the Fabry camp, and the BT Express's camp let them know that we're going to do it. We're going to get a deal done. But I think Steve at this point, if I know Steve like I know Steve, he is focused in on the draft and drafting players. And, I'm talking about red underwear. I'm sure that Steve's got a few superstitions going on himself about trying to see if they can win that lottery, a week from tomorrow. So it's going to happen. They have plenty of time. I mean, the Red Wings, as I like to say, are in phase 5 right now, which is wait until next year. So they certainly have a couple of months here to get the deal done. So I'm not worried about that. I know that they're going to be signed, all three of them.
Love it. Okay, can't wait for the day. And then second question is for Danielle. This one is great. If you were a starting pitcher and Art was the closer, what would you do if you blew a win?
Oh my God.
Oh man. I was the starting pitcher. Well, I would start by he would no longer be my co-host, so that would be done. Over. Done.
Uh-oh.
But honestly, I think that might be opposite. We talked about it last show. Art said he was going to be a starting left-handed pitcher, so I might be the one that's the closer in that situation.
Art, what would you do if Danielle blew your game?
Because I would know that she is the closer, so chances are the next time I pitch, if I don't go a full 9 innings and get all 27 outs, Danielle is probably going to be in there. I just put my arm around her. I give her a little hug and say, that's okay, buddy. You'll get him next time.
I think I would hide all of our red underwear. I would take it all, hide it, and then he would have no more good luck.
Hey, with this little baby, I can order red underwear all day.
Oh, Lord. Okay. And then we have a third question. This one's for both of you. If you could be the only fan in any stadium, arena, sporting event, what would it be? I love this one. This is a good question. So, Art, we'll start with you.
Oh boy, that would be tough. It comes down to two. It actually comes down to two. Either a hockey arena, obviously, to watch the Red Wings, or Michigan Stadium to watch Michigan's football team. That would probably be it. I would say this, because Michigan has such a question at quarterback. I would probably want to go watch them play at this point, unless, of course, Alexis Lafreniere is a Red Wing, then no questions asked. I'm in the stadium there. So it would be a very, very difficult decision for me. Depending on the day, it's either Michigan Stadium to watch the Maize and Blue, or Little Caesars Arena to watch the Red and White.
Okay. Danielle, what about you?
Well, I can answer with this to start. I don't think I'd want to be the only fan in any stadium, arena, or sporting event, because doesn't that take away from the whole atmosphere? You want all of the fans to be there. But if I could pick any sporting event to be a part of as a fan, it would be either an NHL Stanley Cup Finals game or the Super Bowl. So I guess I can't decide between the two of them. Those are two really, really, they're on my bucket list. I got to get to both of those in my lifetime. But like I said, I want the atmosphere of the crowd just roaring. I want that whole thing, the stadium shaking. That's the best part.
I get it. Those are both great answers. Okay, and then this is the last, but certainly not least comment that I had to highlight during the segment. Okay, so this is a fan comment from Hank that says, beware if art makes you a red mask, because we all know which fabric Art has told us multiple times he always wears red in. So if Art hands you a red face mask, don't wear it.
I can't believe it. My secret's out. I mean, hey, I love my red underwear. I mean, I love it. It brings good luck. I'm totally into that Spanish tradition. But I promise, if I give you a mask and it's red, I did not make it from used red underwear that I have worn. That, as I said, I have a side business online that I take care of the used red underwear. But aside from that, it would be legitimate. It would be legitimately red from real red cloth, not underwear.
Well, if there was an outbreak of pink eye, if there was an outbreak of pink eye, I think I know where it would drop.
Oh my God. Well, thank you there, Carly. I love you too. I mean, my gosh.
Wait, Carly, while we have you and we're on the red underwear subject again, do you have any unique, lucky little tricks that you did? I know I talked about my snow day luck games where I wore my pajamas inside out and then I put ice cubes in the toilet. So that might actually work for me for this draft lottery next week. But do you have any good ones?
I know for snow days, I would sleep with a spoon under my pillow. I think you'd flip it upside down and put it under your pillow. I don't know who came up with that and why I agreed to do that, but it didn't really ever work. I don't really have. I cross my fingers a lot if I'm hoping. I cross my fingers. But other than that,
so
I don't
just
really
walk around
anything.
I thought that you should only cross one finger. Double cross fingers is actually nullifies one or is bad luck. Now I don't know if that's true or if it's an old wives' tale, but if you're going to cross your fingers, never double cross. Never. Maybe it's right in the word, double cross. I always just take one hand. Right, yeah. I think double cross is bad luck. Single cross, good luck. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I know the red underwear.
I always knock on wood.
Yes. And I always go like this, knock on wood. Right here.
You're a lucky guy, so I would believe you with that red underwear.
All right, thank you. Well, that's true. That's very true. Red underwear. I'm sure I'm going to buy stock in red underwear if there's such a company. I think that it's going to shoot up to the because I know Red Wing fans everywhere are going to be wearing it because they want to win that lottery next Friday.
There you go.
Invest Invest, Art, invest.
Oh, yeah. You bet.
Well,
Thank
Carly,
you,
thank you
guys.
so much. That was all great stuff. Some great questions. That does it for today's Let's Socialize presented by AAA. AAA says thank you with free roadside assistance for first responders and healthcare workers fighting to defeat COVID-19. You protect us by going to work every day. Let AAA protect you on the way there and back. And again, guys, it's 2:00. We're at the end of our show. But before we go, I did want to remind you that the Tigers live auction is still going on their website, and you can bid on some really cool items all the way through Sunday, the 21st. So that's this Sunday. Hey, maybe you could get something for Father's Day. It might be a little bit delayed, but you could still get a really cool gift for dad if you take part in the Tigers auction. And we're also going to have some Fox Sports Detroit games to watch all weekend. Another thing you can enjoy with your dad, some great Tigers pitching, some classic games here tonight. You can watch the Galarraga almost perfect game, the Verlander no-hitter tomorrow. Saturday, you can watch some playoff throwback with 2013 ALDS Game 5 and the Boyd one-hitter on Sunday. So a great lineup for your Father's Day weekend. And the last thing I've got to remind you guys of is the Tigers virtual happy hour. That is tonight starting at 6 p.m. Matt Shepard will be with some of our great pitching prospects that are in the Tigers lineup. And they've got some big personalities. So I'm expecting that this happy hour will be a lot of fun. Art, are you going to be tuning in?
Oh, you bet I do. Anytime Matt is part of it, I'm not sure exactly what the lineup is, but I hope our good buddy Alex Faedo is part of it. That guy is something else. He's quite a character. Yeah. I really enjoy the young Tigers, and again, and that's another great thing about watching this rebuild is get to know these guys, see them almost from day one when they become a Detroit prospect, and then they morph into a Detroit Tigers player. So. And you really get to see these virtual parties are great because you get to see a side of them, that is they're competitive. Certainly they're competitive, but the side that binds us all together as human beings, as Igor Larionov has told me many, many times, we are all made from the same material. So I'm looking forward to it tonight.
Yeah. I wonder if any of them will go as far as telling us what color underwear they wear for good luck.
Well, I know that many of them tune into this show religiously, so I'm sure they're all being red. Red underwear until next Friday. The 26th, like the 27th of June, you can start wearing multicolored underwear, any kind of underwear you want. Until then, red underwear for luck. Red Wings got to get that #1 overall pick.
All right, guys, you heard it here. If you don't have any red underwear, make sure you get on your phone, order some from Amazon. I don't know, but get your red underwear and make sure you are back here next Tuesday at noon for the Word on Woodward presented by Rehmann. Art, it's always a pleasure. We'll see you guys next week.